You're listening to the Lookoff, the Cleveland Ultimate podcast, the saddest Cleveland Ultimate podcast on the internet. Your host, Brad. Week 1 in the books. This week, the F in FUPA stands for fundamentals. Chelsea and Eric are who we thought they were. Brad does more to help Lynch win in 3 seconds than he did in an entire season on the power team last year. And there was a 4th game that was also played. I'm your host, Brad, joined as always by Joe and Libby, who actually aren't joining me this week. So we don't have to listen to their despair as well, but schedules just didn't work out. We didn't want to keep the people from hearing the quality that is this podcast that everybody's come to know. 4 teams went undefeated, and this is the 16th time in Winter League history that there have been 4 undefeated teams this far into the season. So that's something. I don't watch the games, so I'm not going to have too much to say on them, but I'll have some stuff. Let me look at where the scores were. It's going to be a rough one, folks. If you haven't watched the games, do yourself a favor and watch at least the last 3 minutes of the 3rd game. But the week started out with Potts playing Abby, the Black Plague playing Abby's fun, cool team. Oh, one thing that I'm going to get into is how terrible the names are this season. Really, really bad team names. Be better. But the Black Plague beat Abby C., Abby's fun team, 12-10, I think. I think it was a 2-point win. It might have been a 3-point win. Surprising things from this game, maybe not surprising, but Potts put out the team that we thought they could be if they played well. They played very well. Didn't have too many unforced errors. Yeah, they look really good. They look like they're going to be hard to stop. A very, very athletic team that is good top to bottom. They did have one of the funniest moments of the week, though, when they had a pool that hit the wire directly above their heads somehow. It was a pool that was going into the rafters. It was ridiculous. Great highlight play, probably in the highlight videos. I don't know. I don't watch those either. Abby C's team looked a little iffy. I think it was a little bit of week 1 jitters. I'm trying to look at my phone. There's going to be a lot of dead air on this very short podcast because I'm talking alone. So you can listen to my descent into madness in real time. But I think the thing that we need to take away from this is that Iris just can't win Winter League games. It's what it comes down to. Their team, I think they're going to have some trouble converting breaks. They'll get their turns. They'll force their turns, but they might have some trouble converting breaks. I feel like they had a few major unforced errors. I remember one Davenport layout, which was sick, and then he immediately threw the disc into the wall. I could be misremembering that, but that sticks out. If it didn't happen, I wish it had. So reassessment on those teams. I could see Potts as being. I think they might be the second best team in the league. They look like a real potential finals contender. God, I hope no one actually listens to this. I don't know if we're gonna post this, but Joe, if you're listening to this, dude, make it better. Game 2 was Eric versus Chelsea. I think the final score was 17-9, or as somebody on Chelsea's team let me know, they lost by 1 million. A few things here. Chelsea's roster is kind of strange composition. They don't have. They have a lot of handlers, but really, I don't think they're as bad nor do I think Eric is necessarily as good as this game indicates. I don't think that Chelsea's going to get blown out every week or Eric's going to double up on teams every week. I do think that Eric has a track record and will continue to have a track record of having the best planning for Winter League, being able to make adjustments and scheme. And Chelsea as a first-time captain and that team coming in with maybe a little bit less of a plan than they should have had. It was a very bad matchup for week one, especially with the roster that Eric's team has. They're not a team. You're basically running into an existing Winter League team. They have their chemistry figured out. They have enough players that they're gonna punch you in the mouth. And if you're making mistakes, it's gonna be real tough to get against like stay in the game. I think Chelsea's team will. I don't remember their name. Oh, State. I think State will be a little better once they figure out their chemistry, learn the roles, learn the people on the team. Probably run through Chelsea and Libby more. It's hard to see other teams being able to keep up with those two if they plan and design their offense around letting those two go to work. Unfortunately for them, I think they're going to have to play a lot of points if they want to win a lot of games. Yeah, that's all I have to say about that game. I didn't really watch it closely, and I don't watch the film once it goes up. The worst game in Winter League history happened after that. Felipe's team maintained a 1 or 2 point lead against Lynch's team all the way up until the buzzer, essentially. I don't think Felipe's team was down at all in that game until the buzzer and universe point loss. We had the disc. Felipe had the disc with maybe 40 seconds left or something like that. Through one of the least advised throws I've ever seen. Sorry, Felipe, but I think you know it's true. Turned it over. Lynch's team picked it up, started working it down the field, but time was short. Yours truly ran back to play defense right before the buzzer. Has anybody actually watched this? Did the buzzer go off before Stitch got that throw off? Is there an actual loud buzzer? Do we know that time wasn't up at that point? I have no idea. These are things that I'm going to hold on hope for. But Stitch threw a fluffy throw that was a foot or two away from me. Rather than taking an extra step, maybe even 2 steps to get myself closer to the play where it was caught, I tried to jump early and did not have it. Complete misread. Very, very embarrassing. Complete collapse. Cat caught the disc, forced it into overtime. Felipe's team on the universe point, I think, completed 3 or 4 throws, and then again threw into. I don't even remember how the turn happened, but it looked panicked under the pressure, and Lynch's team walked it up and scored easily. Complete collapse. There's nothing more to say about that than what it was. After having played the game, I'm a little bit lower on Lynch's team than I was prior to the season starting. I had them as a finals team. I still think they're going to make the playoffs. I actually think this game could be big for them making the playoffs because I could see both those two teams, Felipe and Lynch, being in the 3-win spot sort of thing, playing for the 4th place going into the playoffs, and this would be the tiebreaker this could be the tiebreaker that seals that for them. Maybe I'm wrong. First week jitters, teams, you never really know what a team's going to look like. They played well. I thought we played well until the last minute of the game. Grasped defeat from the claws of victory. Total collapse. But actually, while we're on that subject, we'll go to our live read. Sometimes bad things happen, and You may or may not be prepared for them. You can have a complete emotional collapse, a complete, I don't know, spiritual collapse, but one thing you never really want to have to worry about is a complete financial collapse. And that's why I'm here today to tell you about Ryan Klein and his investment, Ryan Klein Investment Nationwide, preparing for the future, for all the unseen things. Financial stability is there's no ability like financial stability. I'm reading this word for word, by the way. There's no ability like financial stability, and there's no financial advisor like Ryan Klein. So hit him up on Twitter. That's his preferred method. Let him know what a great job you think he's doing. Final game was Abby Guide, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood over Seattle Mixtape, which, yeah, just again, be better. It was a 14-12 win. If Joe were here, he'd be sad. He predicts his team to finish 14th in the league. I don't know. I didn't watch any of this game. I saw the last few minutes of it. Based on eyewitness reports, Abby's team is good. So maybe recency bias or overreacting, but it seems like the consensus among everyone I've talked to is that the 4 teams that have won in week 1 are going to make the playoffs, and the 4 teams that didn't aren't. I'd bet my next year's league bid fee, if I get drafted, that those 4 teams won't be the teams that make the playoffs, but I could be wrong. First person to call me out on that next year, if it happens, I don't know, you could have my spot in the league. That's all I really have on those things. Just fuck it all. This week let me see. There are more games this week. Week 2, this Friday. State. Oh, their name is actually State University. Versus Pull It, Pass It, Green Bean It. So that is Chelsea versus Lynch. I'm gonna put my money on Lynch on this one. Yeah, I see them winning. Game 2 is Jamon Picante, which I think translates to hot shit, versus Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. I know Jamon Picante, Felipe's team, is missing a lot of people, layout being this weekend, and I know Abby's team is missing at least Evan. So I'm gonna go. I think my team's gonna pull this one out, play some pickup magic, and figure their shit out, and hopefully get us the win, because that'd be cool. Third game is Abby's cool team at Seattle Mixtape. I know both these teams are missing some people for layout as well. Honestly, I could see this one being a toss-up. Mixtape will have... Hold on a second. Yeah, Mixtape will have their top 3 picks. They'll have Cole, Joe, and Haley. But Abby's team is going to be missing Dutch, and I thought someone said Kelly wasn't going to be there, but I could be making that up or thinking of someone else. So I could see that being a good matchup, being a game that Rooster's team will win. I don't want to say in spite of Rooster not being there, because it would be more probably thanks to Rooster not being there. Yeah, I'm gonna go with them. I'm gonna go with what I'm guessing will be the underdogs when the lines are released. And the final game is ARP at the Black Plague. That is Eric versus Potts. That should be a very fun game. That's actually sick. Week 2, they'll get to work on. They'll have weeks to work on shit before seeing each other again in the playoffs, maybe. But I think ARP is going to run away with this. Their team is good. Lexi was trying to talk about not wanting to be picked as a second round pick, thinking that she was being drafted too high, but she plays well. She's good at Ultimate. Amir, Pinecone, known commodities. Mark Fertile played very well as a late round pick. And of course, Pretty Dude Dave, walking out on the walker is something that everybody needs to see and will surely lead any team to a victory. Maybe canes and walkers with tennis balls on them are the modern medicine that would have stopped the Black Plague from happening. I don't know. We're just writing next week's intros already. I don't know. There's probably more to talk about, but it's just me. I didn't watch the games. I don't have any interesting takes on Ultimate, and I want to not be talking anymore. So this is Brad looking you off until next week.